What is that? That's the sun.
This is boring.
Yes, but the midterm is far from boring. Here's a hint. Don't forget about UT Place's phenomenological fallacy.
I've already forgotten it.
Consider the following quote. So, one thing is we might not get the answer. The phenomenological fallacy, the idea of the senses being always leading to truth, is the mistake of supposing that when the subject describes his experience, when he describes how things look, he is describing the literal properties of objects and events of eternal cinema or television screen, like eyesight, sound, or technological activation. If we assume, for example, that when a subject reports a green image, he is asserting the occurrence inside himself when the object is literally green. It is clear. So, one theory I have is that, let's say this is blue to you. You learned this growing up as blue. I learned it as red. Well, that's not true because there has to be truth, absolute truth. Who is the author of the quote? One, two, three. I think it's one. Suppose I have a green after image in your mind. Am I seeing something green according to the author of the quote above? Which view is the author suggesting is the fallacy? Which view is the author suggesting follows if the fallacy is not a mistake? Dualism. So I got all three wrong. Consider what the brain state theorist has to do to make good his claims. He has to specify a physical chemical state that any organism is in pain if it possesses a brain of suitable physical structure. Its brain is in that state. This means the physical chemical state in question must be possible, state the mammalian. At the same time, it must not be possible of any physical possible creature that cannot feel pain. Two. That's correct. Wrong. 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 0 for 6. Consider the following. When someone says inaccurately that heat might have turned out not to be a molecular motion, what is true in what he says is that someone could have sensed a phenomenon in the same way we sense heat, that is, feels it by the means of production of the sensation we call the sensation of heat, even though that phenomenon was not a molecular motion. Heat is a molecular motion is a contingent argument because you have to agree with it. 0 for 8. So if you consider these are both 50% and I got both wrong and I'm 0 for 8, I might be crazy. I might have cheated. What else intentionality is a biological phenomenon, and it is as likely to be causally dependent on the specific biochemistry, such as photosynthesis. So this is for the final. Which of the following view is which of the following is the view expressed in the quote consistent with? Is the view expressed with the claim that something artificial could think? Again, both were wrong. 0 for 10. Consider the analytical engine to be merely entirely mechanical will help us to rid superstition, since Babbage's machine was not electrical. And again, the Chinese experiment is the idea, if you're in a room with a computer, can you learn Chinese if people outside the room speak Chinese? Since all digital computers, and then trying to figure out what digital means, we see that this use of electricity cannot be of theoretical importance. Electricity comes in signals. So that is not surprising. We find connections in the nervous system, in the brain. According to the above quote, certain similarities to the nervous system are not superficial. If these similarities are sufficient with the mind, boom, boom. If the Turing test is true, then strong AI is true. We back, we back. The twin Raphael argument, which involved considering a computer floating in deep space running the alleged, is supposed to be a better argument than the Chinese argument, showing that AI is implausible. Strong AI. Let's look up strong AI. Strong AI, known as AGI, artificial general intelligence, refers to hypothetical machines that possess human like cognitive abilities, unlike weak AI currently used in ChatGPT, which is restricted to specific tasks. Strong AI, the ability to take skills learned in one context and apply them to a new context, like uh, like argumentation, human level reasoning, the capability to use logic, strategy, whatever. Boom. True or false? Any Turing test can be passed. So this is back to our example. Now we're halfway through, we're tired. So we got to take a couple breaths. Best Nathaniel, any Turing test can be ISO felt stress, can be passed by some Turing machine. Just seems false. Got it wrong. If functionalism is true, then it logically follows that dualism let's look up functionalism. By what they do, not by what they are made of. It would be interesting at such a high level, at a top level in philosophy, of how you would grade this for a grade. If I could exist without my body existing, then I could exist without any physical things at all. I think you would still need something physical. Every behavioral kind can be understood as a functional kind. They're two different things. SSK. Dualism here means that strong AI exists, leads to sentimentalism. The computer does not have consciousness, it cannot be naturalistic. Rene Descartes wrote of the difference between the mind and the body. He's Voltaire. Here's an example. Pain to see fibers, a group of nerve cells that fire when pain is experienced. So there are cells that fire in the brain, like, and then they fire here, right? Because like language could lead to eating. So there's a mirror neuron right here that connects them. And when you have trouble, this breaks down. So by learning, this reappears. It's an agonist or fiber. It's like this. It needs to be like this, a covalent bond. And you drew your concept book, blue object, and trying to imagine the scenario. To imagine something is a form of sensory visual objectivity. If I can conceive occurring, we'll skip this. Duplication.
Okay, so let's try and sort of make that internalist thought a bit more precise. That is, let's try and make the thought that okay, so let's